Just spectacular.
What a night over at Chase Center. Warriors pay homage to Klay Thompson in his return with the Mavericks, and then they go out and get a win. Stephen Curry and Draymond Green end up getting the last laugh as the Warriors rally from 7 down in the final 4+ minutes, and Stephen Curry would not be denied. 15-5 run for the Warriors to win this game by that final of 120-117. You heard Kevin Harlan on the call there on TNT, and this was a game that 100% lived up to the hype as we welcome you in here to Dubs OT with JD John Dickinson on KNBR, the sports leader from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. And what a night. I mean, that is, I think, the most thrilling game that Chase Center has seen maybe since the 2022 NBA Finals. I think there's a game 4 of the first-round series against Sacramento that was pretty good, went down to the wire, and the Warriors were able to eke that game out on a Harrison Barnes miss at the buzzer for Sacramento. But, I mean, tonight just it had it all. From the jump, from the way they paid tribute to Klay Thompson with the 18,000-plus captain's hats. Got my Greg Silver in our San Francisco studios. Greg, I was able to grab a captain hat. Greg's on the phone, so Greg, you can take your time there. I can see on the stream. 808 KNBR is the number, 415-808-5627 to jump in and join the conversation. Folks are filing into the YouTube chat as well. I may have to take the captain hat off because it is kind of messing with the headset here. I feel like the headset's about to fall off, so I may have to take it off. But here for the first couple of minutes, going to throw it on because Klay Thompson played really well, and it looked, Greg, like Klay was going to get the last laugh in this one. 6 3-pointers made on 12 attempts, and he was a part of that big run in the fourth quarter that looked like it was going to allow Dallas to prevail. But too much Steph and Draymond down the stretch. The competitiveness of 3 all-time great competitors on full display, and everybody inside Chase Center tonight just with a treat of a game here in the early part of the regular season. And the Warriors are 9-2 on top of it.
My, oh my. That is what it's all about, JD. Just the game itself. When Klay hit that 6-3 to make it a 5-point game, I wasn't sure if the Warriors were going to respond, but I knew even then that this is what it's all about. And it's kind of crazy that the old heads, and I quote unquote old heads, how dominant they can be. And just the greatest showman in sports, Stephen Curry, does what he's done his whole career. He does what he did in the Summer Olympics to score the last 12 for the Warriors and hit the night, arguably a little too early. But look, when you're the only person in the world that can do what he does, you can do whatever you want. This is going to be an awesome show tonight, and I'm happy that Steph, Klay, Draymond, Looney, and the OGs showed the ultimate competitive spirit tonight.
Yeah, and Draymond Green post-game wearing the Captain Klay hat, celebrating so I guess if Draymond can keep the Klay hat on in the post-game, I guess I can keep the Klay hat on here, at least initially in the post-game. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. The number, as always, to give us a call or shoot us a text here. The Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line is open as well. Let's get it out and get started right here on the phone lines as we get everything set up in our San Francisco studios and out here at Harmonic Brewing, where we met multiple wonderful folks earlier. Austin Scott, just a digital legend here at KNBR, put together a wonderful package of fans sharing their favorite Klay Thompson moments. We got to meet Mark and Kiana, among others, who Mark and Kiana stopped by, said hi, got their free beverage from JD, and that offer extended to a few others here as we get Dubs OT going. But without further ado, so much to discuss in this one as the Warriors are 9-2, by the way, and win again on the home floor. But let's get it rolling with JT in Concord, our tip-off caller of the night here on the Sports Leader. Hey, JT.
How you doing, man?
Doing well tonight. Doing well. What's on your mind?
I don't want to be negative because they pulled it off, but I think we have three guys on this team shooting way too many threes who can't shoot. I'm talking about Wiggins. I'm talking about Moody. And I'm talking about Kuminga. Way too many threes. These guys need to go to the paint. They can't. They're not good shooters. And I think
look,
way too many threes. And you know what? I don't want to rain. I love this team. I think it's great. They're playing defense again for the first time in a long time. But that's not what these guys are. That's like Chris Webber shooting threes. That's not who they are. I think they need a Moody, low post. Same with Kuminga.
Yeah.
He's great off the drive. He's explosive. Don't shoot threes, man. You can't shoot.
Well, Kuminga tonight was 2 for 5, and 5 typically is too many in my book, but he hit a couple, I think 2 of his first 3. I like it more when he takes 3, and if it's a 1 for 3 or a 2 for 3, you can live with it. If it's an 0 for 2, maybe you don't take the third one on that given night. That's kind of where I am with Kuminga. Wiggins is somebody who the Warriors need to make threes. And look, Wiggins was 0 for 3 tonight. Moses Moody is somebody that they trust to make open threes. He was 0 for 2. There are certain shots that when you get the ball in a certain spot in the flow of the offense, you must take that shot. And look, the Warriors, I'm with you on Kuminga. I'm not so much with you on Wiggins, although, again, I think 0 for 3 is probably the limit. Don't let 0 for 3 turn into 1 for 6. And I think that's where Wiggins in this game tonight gets credit because 0 for 3 didn't turn into 1 for 6. And Moses Moody, we've seen him have some games where he hits them. He was left open tonight and only took the 2. But all in all, Kuminga hitting a couple of them tonight was key to the Warriors getting the win. And look, this is a team that wants to shoot 40 to 50 3-pointers a game. They believe in the math to where if the ball is moving and they're getting it to the right guys in the right spots, that they have an advantage with their depth of guys who can make them. Not necessarily great shooters, but guys who can make them. And I think Wiggins and Moody are guys who can make them, even if they're not a Buddy Hield or a Stephen Curry or a Klay Thompson type. So agree with some of it, maybe disagree with the some of it in another direction. But all in all, JT, real nice Warriors win tonight, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, good stuff. JT and Concord getting us rolling here. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627 as Dubs OT gets going here on this Tuesday night from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Again, stop by and say hi. And the JD tab is open here tonight. We'll buy you one if you come by and we got Shay and Alex working tonight. Just be like, yeah, I'm with JD over there in the corner here. With the Chase Center backdrop in the background, and get your Kolsch or maybe a prog rock, whatever works for you here tonight, courtesy of JD and eSports Leader.
I've been trying to recruit people, JD. I've been trying to recruit people all day. Rack up that tab at Harmonic Brewing, and we cannot thank them enough for hosting Dubs OT.
No, I like giving JT the nod there to begin the show. But tonight's not the night where you complain about who's shooting threes. I mean, Kuminga made a couple of them tonight. Like that, again, do you want him shooting 5? No, but if he goes 2 for his first 3, then he's probably going to take another 1 or 2. Like I can live with that. You can live with a 40% from 3 Kuminga night on some limited opportunities. But look, here, the story of this one was Klay Thompson before we get to Drew Down. And again, just a spectacular job I thought the Warriors did in the lead up to the game with the 18,000 Captain Klay hats. I love the fact that Klay embraced the 400 Warriors employees who greeted him as he got off the bus and entered in the bowels of Chase Center to go over to the Dallas Mavericks locker room. This was at about 4:30 this afternoon. And you kind of wondered, is Klay going to absorb it and appreciate it and smile, because he's been so robotic about his return in the lead up. And it's exactly what he did. I thought that set a real positive tone to the energy of the whole evening when Klay accepted that going into the locker room and smiled about it. And he just seemed locked in and in good spirits. And then you get to the pregame video tribute and everybody, tipping their captain's hats to Klay Thompson. They made the decision that Steph and Curry, I guess Steph and Klay talked at some point last night, and Steph was going to address the crowd and tell everybody how much Klay meant and how much that the Warriors organization still appreciates him, even though he's not around in the Warrior fan base. And Steph obviously speaking on behalf of Draymond and everybody else that helped hang 4 banners in the building that sits behind me. And they talked last night, and it sounds like, they mutually agreed, hey, I don't want that if I'm Klay, and don't do that. And so Steph said, all right, we're not going to do that. But the hugs all around as the game tipped off. And I thought the energy was so good in Chase Center tonight that it set the table. And I said this at the top of the show. It set the table for, I think, 3 all-time maniacal competitors in Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson to compete at the highest of levels. And I think that's where you get such a high-level game. And then Luka gets in the mix as the biggest star in the game, not named Steph Curry, and he wants to be a part of it. And Kyrie, who's a big-time star in his own right, wants to be a part of it. But I thought the energy was raised by the good vibes and the video tribute and the ability for the appreciation of Klay Thompson to be felt. And then the game starts, and it is on, and it is competitive back and forth. I thought early in this one, Klay held it together, but it looked like he was going to get emotional. When they had the video tribute and the long, lusty standing ovation. Again, most hype Chase Center has been since. If you want to jump in and join the conversation there, feel free to do so at 808 KNBR. Steph and Klay right out of or Steph was on Klay right out of the shoot. Couple of fouls. Steph fouled Klay. Klay hit a couple of free throws to begin it. Then Curry hits a 3 on Klay. Klay has a turnover that leads to a Wiggins dunk. Draymond with a block into a Melton bucket. And then Curry, one of the first fun moments of the night, Curry strips Klay, then airballs a pull-up 3, and then the smile on Klay Thompson's face as Curry airballed it. It was a sight to be seen. Draymond Green locked in. I mean, it was just, like I said, 3 psycho competitors all really going at it. Warriors got off to the 24-15 lead. Starters played well in the first and third quarters, where the game flipped, and it looked like it was going to cost the Warriors was the beginning of the second and fourth quarters. But Steve Kerr gets a hell of a lot of credit for the move that he made with just over 4 minutes to go and the Warriors down by 7. It was Jason Kidd who took the timeout. One of those, you got the extra timeout to burn, so you take it in front of that 3-minute mark, and it allowed for Steve Kerr to make 2 subs that changed things defensively for the Warriors. And then Stephen Curry and Draymond Green would not be denied in those final 4 minutes, and the Warriors end up getting the 3-point win. 808 KNBR, that's where Drew Down checks in next here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Drew Down.
Man, talk about a wet blanket with that tip-off caller, man. Go to Jim Park Spaces with that kind of energy, bro. I was hyped for this game, man. I skipped my bowling.
Tonight's not the night. Tonight's not the night for that, Drew Down. I'm trying to be respectful to everybody, but it's like, look, Kuminga made 2 threes. That's a winning night when he makes 2 threes.
No, take that energy to Jim Park Spaces, man. It was an incredible game with Klay coming back. Klay hit a lot of big shots, man. And normally this season, this team has been strength in numbers. Well, I mean, and JK and Buddy, they had their moments. Loon and TJD had their moments. But like you said, I thought this game was all about Steph and Dre, man. Dre coming up with the big stops, in crunch time in the fourth. And Steph Curry was not going to be tonight. Was not going to be denied tonight. He was not going to let this team lose, man. And I think that's the thing about this team. When you have Steph Curry, you always got a shot, no matter what. So that was just an incredible game. Just high energy, just theatrics, high drama. That was just an incredible game. And it was just good to see this team get down by, 5 or 7 in the fourth, and the way they clawed their way back and got the W, man. That was amazing. So a great win for this team, and obviously 1-0 in the in-season tournament. And I'm not sure if people care about that, but yeah, man, just a great win.
Vegas tickets? Is that what you're saying? Book your trip to Vegas. You might get a trip to Vegas.
Yeah, might as well, man. Yeah. Might as well 1-0. Pretty much on their way, right? So. Just an incredible win, man, and an emotional game with Klay back, and just stacking up another win, man. And like I said, let's keep this thing rolling. Let's keep getting W's.
Appreciate it, Drew Down. 808 KNBR, Drew Down's line open for you to jump in and join the conversation. 415-808-5627 as the Warriors win it by that final of 120 to 117. 4:17 to go in this one. Stephen Curry had missed a three, and Jason Kidd took that timeout with 4:17 to go. And Steve Kerr made a couple of subs. He was rolling Kevon Looney out there. He was rolling Buddy Hield out there with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins. And Steve Kerr put DeAnthony Melton back in the game. And DeAnthony Melton immediately made a three and played some really strong defense in those final 4 minutes. I thought Kuminga played well enough tonight to close, and I was kind of wondering as the Mavs were taking control of the game and it got to that 4-minute mark, believe it or not, if Steve was going to wait a little bit too long to get Kuminga back in the game, because I thought the Draymond at the 5, even against Gafford and eventually Lively, after Draymond stoned Gafford a couple of times at the rim, Jason Kidd went back to Derek Lively. But I thought that was the proper front line tonight. I thought Kuminga at the 4 was working tonight. And then you go to DeAnthony Melton, who is just a terrific two-way player. And I think that was the question. Who's the 5th going to be? And it was DeAnthony Melton, and he immediately made an impact. But, yeah, Draymond with the defense. Draymond Green was a man-possessed tonight. He was a man-possessed all night long, but then in those final 4 minutes. And then Stephen Curry, wow. I mean, what more can you say about Stephen Curry? The 2 free throws there before Luka Doncic missed the three-pointer to put the Warriors up 3. Warriors got the ball to Steph, but Steph, I mean, incredible when you look at the way this thing ended up. You had the Melton 3 to make it 112 to 108, but after that, it was a Curry 15-footer. It was a Curry 29-foot 3 with 2:36 left to make it a 1-point game. It was a Curry layup to give the Warriors the lead, and then it was a dagger 3 from Stephen Curry to make it 118 to 114. The 28-footer with 27 and 5/10 seconds left to go. Now Quentin Grimes ended up with a big 3, and it might have been a little premature on the night, but the Warriors able to get the ball to Steph on the inbounds after the Mavs were able to foul, but had a foul to give, and Curry makes both free throws, and Luka Doncic locked up by Andrew Wiggins on that final possession, made the 27-footer really difficult, and the Warriors end up getting the victory by 3 points. So 808 KNBR, if you want to jump in, if you want to join the conversation with respect to the Klay Thompson tribute video, how the Warriors handled themselves, how Klay handled himself. I think for a Warriors fan tonight, you got to look at it as if it was the best of all worlds, because Klay Thompson did not come into Chase Center tonight and stink up the joint by any stretch. So if you were hoping for it, and my guy Greg Silver was saying, hey, I want Klay to ball out and then the Warriors to win. That's kind of the perfect Warrior fan scenario in this. And Klay balled out with the 6 3-pointers and 4 boards, and he was locked in this game. It was the most 3-pointers ever by a Warriors opponent in their first game. A Warriors former player as an opponent in their first game against the Warriors. And so, yeah, Klay was really good in this one and making shots. And with 4 minutes to go, it looked like he was going to be the headliner along with Luka Doncic as to leading the Mavs to this win. So 808 KNBR, let's keep it rolling here. We got a lot of people lined up. We want to hear from you at 415-808-5627. Loverboy in Tracy is next here on the Sports Leader. Wants to pay homage to Stephen Curry. Wow. What a performance from Steph tonight, Loverboy.
Yeah, what a performance indeed. And you made me think there for a second. Has he ever done the night-night and it backfired? Because that would have been bad.
Not yet. I mean, it really came about, in 2022, I think, is when and no, I don't think he's done it in a game where it's backfired. He lit the beam in Sacramento in Game 7 when he scored 50. That was a little different stretch. But no, I don't think night-night is backfired. But yeah, I honestly, tonight, going up 4 with 27 and a half to go, that might have been a little quick for it, honestly. 4 with like that. 4 could get away. We've seen the Warriors lose some 4-point leads in the closing seconds here the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. So glad we're keeping a good streak going. And I don't know if you could tell from where you're at yet, but it looked like he was kind of lipping something like "you should have stayed," and he was kind of pointing at his jersey for Golden State. And thought that was kind of cool, a little intense, and it was kind of cool. And last thing there, the announcers weren't really talking about it. I was kind of disappointed on that. I thought they would have picked up on that right away.
On the Draymond, I didn't see it. I was backing up to try and head it. On which part?
When Steph made the dagger three, and he kind of was pointing at the Golden State and pulling his jersey up, and it looked like he was saying, that's why you stay or don't leave, something like that. I thought that was pretty great.
Got it. Well, that makes sense. I mean, look, the Warriors have been consistent. As much as things maybe got a little bit contentious between the two sides the last couple of years, Steph, Draymond, and Steve Kerr, and even Joe Lacob all wanted him back. It was just what role and what price. And, Klay Thompson didn't it wasn't for him. So he made the decision to go to Dallas. There was the reporting today on ESPN that Klay is still more focused on maybe proving the Warriors wrong for, I guess, not offering more money or a more certified role in terms of you're always going to start and that kind of thing. But, we're chalk one up tonight for the Warriors, who are 9-2, and the Mavs are trying to figure things out. Although I do think the Mavs are definitely going to be a team to reckon with in the Western Conference, as they proved last year.
Yeah, great points and great job tonight. And I got to say, I'm celebrating the victory. Usually every time I call in, I'm in the In-N-Out burger line. So I'm getting the milkshake and probably get some diarrhea, but it's all well worth it.
All right. Appreciate you, Loverboy. A little TMI there. A little TMI from Loverboy tonight out in Tracy. 808 KNBR, what's going on? 415. That's it. We're about to go to break. But we're about to go to break. Hang on. We're about to go to break. But you can't swear, though. You can't swear. But we'll bring you on right after, because we're about to go to break. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader.
Live from downtown.
Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang!
This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on the Sports Leader. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Shot clock at 3. Looney will fire with 2. Rebound by Dallas. Flying for Gallup. Got to fire Thompson. 3 called. Big time triple. 6 threes. And a timeout taken by the Mavericks. Thompson in his home cupping buries a 3. Dallas by 5 on TNT.
All right, Kevin Harlan there on the call, looking at that point like it was going to be Klay Thompson's night. The Mavs would add another deuce to go up by 7, but then it was all Warriors from there, 15-5 over the final 4-17, and Stephen Curry bringing the Warriors home, scoring the final 12 in this one, and the Warriors get the win 120-117. We're going to get back to the phones in just a moment. We're out here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City, and I want to bring up my guy Tony here, who is taking advantage of the stop by and say hi. Tony, what's going on? You're on KNBR right now on our video stream. We here with
my Captain Klay hat on. Hey, we had a good time tonight. My baby's birthday tonight. We had a good time. Hey, Steph is the GOAT. Get that boy his flowers. I love all y'all.
There it is. Tony checking in, and we got a birthday shout out, and Tony and his wonderful lady, happy birthday. You can come on too. Yep. Hey,
happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday. Get on. No, you come on over. You can get on. Just get in that. You just hop on. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ray. Yeah, here we go. All right. There. Yes. Happy birthday. Scorpio season. Happy birthday. I love y'all. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thank you to you both. And yeah, you go right up to Alex or Shay and say, hey, JD's got you, and you all have a wonderful night. All right.
Fill up the tab, man. Happy birthday. Shout out to the Dubs devotees. That's what it's all about.
And in the Klay Thompson jersey tonight as well. So that's what you love to see. So a Kolsch, maybe a prog rock. It's all good here on the Sports Leader. All right, let's continue on the phone lines. And it's James in San Francisco next here on KNBR. Hey, James.
Hey, good evening. I just wanted to say, I think perhaps the key story here has been buried a little bit. The Klay return. I don't want to take away his, his worth and his all of his accomplishments, but the Warriors beat the defending Western Conference champions without Klay and actually against Klay. I think that's the real story.
I think that is. I think it's a huge part of the story. It's as much a part of the story, if not more, than the actual Klay Thompson return. There's no doubt about it. They're now 9-2 on the season, and the Mavs. Cheers to you. Cheers to Tony. Happy birthday. Thank you. And the Mavs are now 5-6 with the defeat. So you look at the Western Conference standings, and the Mavs thought they improved, and I think time will tell on that. I don't think tonight we make a definitive assessment of the Dallas Mavericks, but part of the reason Klay Thompson went to Dallas is the fact that he thought that going to Dallas, he was going to be a part of a better team and a team that was closer to being able to contend for a championship than the Warriors were, given the way things had gone the last couple of years. So, and even the reporting that I alluded to from earlier from ESPN that said, hey, Klay is much more focused on trying to prove the Warriors wrong for basically either undervaluing him or not giving him, like I said, carte blanche as a starter, maybe not paying him more than the 2-year, $48 million offered contract. So, he's got to be dealing with the fact that, hey, the Warriors have something to prove that they can get it done without him, and Klay's got something to prove that he's in a better situation because he went to Dallas believing that he was going to get the last laugh and the last word, maybe not on an individual night like tonight, but he felt he was going to be playing in the second round in the conference finals, in the NBA finals with Dallas, and that the Warriors are going to be home. And so far, again, we're 9 games into or 11 games into the season. the Warriors look like a team that's very much connected and the best version of themselves that we've seen since that 2022 finals. And the Mavs are at a point where they're still trying to figure it out. So all of that is a part of the story. But the Warriors, to these first 3 weeks of the season, have been a better team than the Dallas Mavericks have been. And they proved it again tonight with the come-from-behind victory late, 120 to 117. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Bassa in Portland on the Sports Leader. Hey, Bassa.
Yes, I'm here. All right, so let me rant for the start, and then I'll get out of your way. So
go for it.
I don't think that it's an indictment, Warriors, the fact that Klay thought that maybe he was going to go to a better spot, but guess what? And you know what? I'm going to calm my tempers here. But should we say those? Levy?
Wait, say that again?
I mean,
your phone cut out there. What did you say?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now, but I missed you. I missed your key point. I missed
my key point. My key point goes to Mike Dunleavy. Together, this team and Golden State has done a great job. Tonight was a beautiful, beautiful thing. When it comes to Klay Thompson, they did an amazing job paying homage to a person that changed the franchise more than many players in the history. I mean, he's not up there with Al Attles. He's not up there with, he honestly, I think he might be up there with Rick Barry, based on what he's done. I mean, Rick Barry was only there for one championship, but the fact of the matter is that he has been a part of such a huge portion of the Warriors' success that it was amazing to see the faculty of the Warriors and then also the fans come out, and also just such love come from everybody that was doing the broadcast and everything else. Klay is a Warrior through and through, and yeah, he had to go and get that money, and I'm never going to hate Klay Thompson for that. God bless Klay Thompson, and God bless Golden State, and you know what? They're going to win it all. They don't win, but they're going to win it all.
All right, boss, I appreciate it. I'm marking you down right now on November 12th, calling your shot. If we get to the point where I'm somewhere in the finals, I'm going to remember. I'm writing it down now.
I never said when. I just said Golden State is going to win it all.
All right, you got it. I'm marking it down, Bassa. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. No, look. And Boss's line open, 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627, Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. Good time to reset. It's John Dickinson here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City, sipping on a Kolsch here tonight after the Warriors win 120 to 117 in a thriller over the Mavs, 15-5 run down the stretch. Incredible night. And look, Mike Dunleavy deserves a ton of credit because in the midst of the Warriors attempting to make a couple of major moves that would have gutted a lot of the depth that they would have had, they stayed patient, and he stayed patient. And when the moves weren't there for the right price, he said, you know what, let's pivot. Let's work on this team's overall depth and try to build the best, most complementary filled team that you can, and see what that team can do. And then if you have to take a few pieces away from some of the depth to be able to make a big move, if there's a big move that presents itself, you're doing it from a position of strength and not from a position of desperation. I think the Warriors want to be aggressive, to be sure, if a superstar player did come available, but they also didn't want to be desperate for it. They also didn't want to be making a move just to make a move, because that's the kind of thing that would absolutely kneecap the franchise for a long time, the next couple of years potentially, but also the next few years after that. So I think, so far so good. They're 9-2. They've beaten both teams that were in the finals last year, including Boston on the road, Dallas tonight, and then they beat the team in OKC that was the number one seed in the Western Conference a year ago. And yeah, there's some circumstances in the two road games with a couple of guys being out for the Thunder and the Celtics respectively, and key players in Chet Holmgren and Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis, but so the hell what? This Warriors team wasn't doing that at this level a year ago. So, and they weren't doing it in the way that they were doing it, connected, young and old, defense and offense. Like, this is just starting more and more, Greg, on a nightly basis to look like a really well put together team that has different skill sets of player to go to in different situations. And Steve Kerr has not hit all the right buttons a lot the last couple of years. Part of it is I don't think he had a roster that he truly believed fit the things that he looks for when he does try to push those buttons. This roster checks those boxes, and Steve Kerr has been able to, in turn, make the right decisions.
A big part of this, and people have been very critical of him over the last couple of years, and I would say rightfully so. But Draymond Green has been present, and his mentality of being both self-aware and locked in, he's playing emotional, but not out of control. And that has been paramount to the type of team the Warriors are. So yes, they have a different roster. They got a little younger. They attacked different skill sets in free agency. But Draymond is still very much the anchor of that defense. And look, this is going to be a celebratory night for Captain Klay. I will not take this hat off the entire show, but there is a reason that the Warriors gave Draymond Green a 4-year, $100 million contract, and that is because the player that he still is when he's available is elite at the skill set he does. So the fact that the Warriors are this team defensively makes me take them seriously. Now, are they a team that can make a playoff push with just one true offensive star? I don't know. But when Steph Curry still can reach those type of powers for a night, it makes you think you never really want to count them out.
Yeah, I thought tonight there were times where lack of a secondary scorer was going to be the reason they would lose if they, in fact, were going to wind up losing this game tonight. And, one thing that has been full display is, for the most part, the Warriors don't know who it's going to be, but at the end of the night, you look up and it clearly was someone. Tonight it was a little extra from Steph, 37. And tonight was a game where it was, Steph Curry was a plus 24, which means when Curry was not on the court tonight, the Warriors were minus 21. So, and look, some games are going to be that way. This is the first game this season, which is in some ways miraculous when you look at the fact that it's game number 11, but it's the first game this season where Steph Curry, they had to lean on him and play him 35, 36 minutes, and he was going to have to be the future Hall of Famer, all-time great in the clutch to bring them home. But he's more apt and able to be able to do that because he doesn't have to do it every single night. He can do it if it's once in 10 games or even two times in 10 games. He can't do it night after night after night after night after night after night after night just to get a 6 seed at the end of the year. And the Warriors to this point have built this thing where, tonight was really the first night where they had to chase a win with Steph Curry being extraordinary, right? And then you look at, all right, who were the two? There really wasn't a true clear-cut number two. It ended up being Kuminga, but it was Kuminga and Buddy Hield, 16-14. And DeAnthony Melton is the guy who hadn't been playing. DeAnthony Melton was terrific. If this was a Steph Draymond game, and it was, and I thought Kuminga did enough really well to help, they needed his offense tonight. And tonight, I think, was the kind of game where the Kuminga -1 wasn't indicative of the way that he played. And when he makes a couple of threes, it literally can be the difference between the Warriors winning and losing. And they won this one tonight. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's keep it going on the phone lines, Greg, with Fozzie in the East Bay here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Fozzie.
Yeah, JD, cheers. How's it going?
Cheers to you, my friend. What's rolling tonight?
Give Dave, who answered the call, a beer too. he didn't sound too happy about the win. But great.
Oh yeah, we got a couple in the fridge in the studio. We got a couple in the fridge in the studio for Dave. Absolutely,
yeah, so
Fozzie.
Go tell him to drink. Go tell him to chug 2 for me, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick,
Dave's one of the best.
Dave, I just want to defend Overnight Dave because he is one of the best, and he said that he was answering the phone while I was talking and therefore didn't want to speak too loudly.
Thanks, Greg. But I want to get on and say, man, what a special night that was, man. Just everything leading up to this, and me as a fan, I'm a little younger, so I basically grew up on Klay and this whole regime of him and Draymond being together. I didn't watch Chris Mullin and the We Believe team and all that, but this is what I grew up on. And man, to see him come back in the way that we treated him tonight, that was great. And then not only that, man, that was some championship basketball being played on the court tonight, man. You see those guys, they're all competitors. There's Draymond and Steph playing out of their minds, and Klay is trying to, live up to whatever legacy he left, and that's already cemented. But, man, just watching them all play tonight against each other, that was special. And, shout out to, obviously Steph Curry, but Draymond Green doing that in the fourth quarter and D'ing up, getting a block and a steal, and then, just bringing that energy, man. We don't win without him. Of course, we know Steph is going to do his thing. But I think tonight's unsung hero, it was Draymond, man. Cheers, JD. Have a good one.
Yeah, and appreciate you, Fozzie. Draymond Green was absolutely spectacular in this game. That was championship level. Draymond Green would not be denied.
JD,
and yeah,
can I call him a sung hero? He was out of his mind.
Yeah, no, I think the unsung hero was Melton tonight. I think DeAnthony Melton was the unsung hero. I think Draymond was everywhere tonight. From the opening tip, it was playoff, maybe even finals level Draymond Green and Steph Curry for that matter in this one. I mean, it was would not be denied. And by the way, how about Steph with the you miss it here? We talked about the night, but how about Steph with the flashing of the jersey, the jersey pop, you miss it here. As the Warriors get the win. I think there's only one man that could have been directed to, Greg. But yeah, no, you gotta love it. No, go ahead, Greg. What are you doing? You trying to take a picture of somebody? What's going on?
Well, just taking a picture of the show going on. We got a good
taking
little...
a selfie.
Well, it's not a selfie. Why don't I have a mirror to go off of?
I'm just playing. I'm playing. I'm trying to get you take a picture of Overnight Dave answering the phones.
No, I'm taking a picture of the TV that's got the stream in the studio. I just want the good looks of JD in a captain hat. Sue me.
I forget. Well, we can do a little screen grab of that. We can do a little screen grab of that after.
Geesack on the chat. Greg, stop being weird.
It was. I mean, like, what's going on in there? Like, because I try not to over focus being able to see the video. I kind of let it ride. I like our little 2-shot here. We got Chase in the background, and I'm able to cheers, sip on a Kolsch or a Prog Rock. By the way, while we're on the topic of that, Greg, I want to also mention. Oh, I lost my note here. I had something. Oh, Harmonic Brewing open at 3 today. Open at 3. On Friday before the Warriors take on the Grizzlies. That's the next game. And how about this? I was talking to Jimmy. Pulled pork quesadillas, a new item menu out here at Harmonic Brewing. So we got the pulled pork quesadilla, which I'm going to probably try on Friday. Like that I can guarantee. It might be a little late in the evening for tonight, and we're doing the show. But, yeah, just stop by, say hi. They got great food and a wonderful beer selection here tonight, and it is a celebratory atmosphere here at Harmonic Brewing. All right, back to the phones we go. But first, before we get Reggie, you know what? Let's get Reggie. Let's get Reggie first, and then I'm going to get into the YouTube chat, which we have been remiss in including in the conversation here. I know, Greg, you've been putting a bunch of the chat up on the screen, but we got to give some shout outs and get to the YouTube chat here before we take another break. Reggie, though, in Vallejo is next here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Reggie.
Hey, what's up, JD? What's up, Greg? Appreciate your guys' perspective all the time. Always good stuff.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, man. We're thrilled to be doing it, and it's fun to cover and talk about this team with the beginning of the season that they've had. And I don't know. There are some games, Reggie, where if you're in the building and you the next day you kind of wake up and you feel like you still kind of feel the energy. I feel like tomorrow I'm going to wake up. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be feeling tonight again because it was that good.
Dude, I'm pacing around the house right now. It's crazy because it felt kind of like Oracle. I don't know, right? That's the first time I seen Chase get up and down like that, and seeing like vintage Dre, vintage Steph, and seeing Klay have a good game. I mean, freaking Draymond Green, that closeout to block. I don't know who he blocked. I forgot, and to save the ball going out of bounds and then coming back. I mean, that just gave me chills just seeing that. And then
it was one of the plays of the night, to be sure. And it leads to the bucket on the other end. I mean, the Warriors were just flying around tonight, man. They were flying around. They were hyped. They were focused. Yeah. They didn't always play well, but again, I keep coming back to it, and I've said it a lot. The competitive spirit tonight was just unmatched. Like, they wanted this game like it was Game 7 of a finals.
Yeah, no, they didn't want to let up. I mean, you can see it kind of in Steph and Dre's eyes. They were locked in from the beginning. Just everybody was flying around. People were diving on the floor. It was like, damn, is this a regular season game? But, I mean, hey, shout out to Adam Silver. The NBA Cup is pretty good.
Hey, they picked a good first game, right? If you're gonna tip it off tonight.
Yeah, I mean, another note I wanted to kind of, obviously with Klay coming back, I grew up watching, We Believe Warriors and seeing teams stink, or this team like get really bad with just, bad trades, bad drafts, and I could name guys up and down the roster, but Klay Thompson, he's been obviously like one of my biggest inspirations in playing basketball, and just seeing him come back from an injury, kind of an unspoken thing, but just even seeing Steph by his side a lot of times during that while Klay was out, that just goes to show just what type of leader Steph is. And unfortunately, like, it just didn't work out in the end. And Klay needed a new scenery, or he didn't get along with the management. He wanted to go a different direction. And, but as a fan, Klay was just, dude, the 37 points and sack. I mean, you can go on. He barely takes any dribbles and drops 60 points. This dude is just, he's a hooper. He's a hooper, man. And just seeing all those three guys, I mean, even though they weren't on the same team, they are hell competitors, man.
It was kind of fun to watch. I mean, in a sense, it was fun to watch them go against each other. I mean, Steve Kerr was asking his pregame press conference about Steph and Klay specifically. Like, how many times at practice over the years would Steph guard Klay or Klay guard Steph, right, during a scrimmage or during a drill? And Steve just said, it would happen a lot, and you kind of marvel at it from time to time. And to see it on the film is going to be something that he'll get a kick out of. But I thought tonight, I mean, it lived up to the hype in so many ways. But how many times were Steph and Klay toe-to-toe, basically playing one-on-one tonight? I mean, it was just from a true, pure basketball standpoint, it was beautiful to watch, honestly, seeing them on the same side for so many years, as weird as it was. And for maybe some of the animosity that had built up over the last year or so, and Klay's exit, from just a pure basketball competitiveness standpoint, it was fun to see. I mean, there was kind of an iconic picture that was going around tonight where Klay kind of had the ball in the post and Steph was guarding him, and it was just special, man. It was special because we hadn't seen it, and it was special because we got to see a little bit of a different vantage point of just how crazy maniacal those two are. And I think you put Draymond in there as well. And I thought you saw Luka and Kyrie up their games tonight, wanting to get it for Klay, which I thought just helped the overall atmosphere in a big way.
No, for sure. Just one last thing too. I also think this the dynamic of how the team is built right now. I think the biggest question going into further into the season is this sustainable, right? I mean, this is the first game we've seen Steph. Just the Warriors go after a win and Steph playing heavy minutes and going up and down the roster. And it's like, man, who's the number 2 guy? Who's going to be the second option? And yeah, maybe it was Kuminga tonight, but still, not consistent in when we needed him, and really had to rely on Steph. So, I mean, I think the Warriors, just looking at the NBA, they probably have the best team to make a big move, because they have so many multiple assets that they can trade. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think that's going to be Dunleavy's biggest test. I've been kind of skeptical about it at first, but so far so good. With picking up key vets like Melton, Kyle Anderson, and Buddy, they've been great. But is it sustainable? I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be the question. Is it sustainable? How sustainable is it? And do they look to make a trade if they deem it to not be sustainable? And then the next level of that is, how much do you give up and for what player? Because I've said this a few times, and thanks, Reggie, for the call. I've said it a few times. I can already see Steve Kerr not wanting to give up anybody to bring somebody else in unless it's a for sure no-brainer, because this team is developing such great chemistry collectively. And I want to get Andis Brown before we break in the YouTube chat, and we'll get to full YouTube chat segment coming up here. Still phone lines open, 808 KNBR if you want to jump in and join the conversation. As one person drops, that's the next best opportunity to jump in and give Overnight Dave a call, give Greg Silver a call, and we'll get you right up and lined up here tonight on Dubs OT.
That's a better idea.
100%. But Andis Brown, I think Kerr likes the option of having different guys who can do different things, gives them versatility on who to play depending on opponent. And depending upon opponent, yes, but also depending upon how the game's going. And like Kerr he had a move left tonight. They're down 7 with 4 minutes to go. Jason Kidd calls a timeout. The lineup with Buddy Hield and Kevon Looney wasn't working. And so that Steve's probably going to go small, but he went defense with Melton over Hield, and he went with more of an offensive threat on this night in Kuminga, and then Curry took it over. But what allowed Curry taking the game over to be successful was the fact that the defense was good enough on the other side, and it held up. And Draymond stoned Gafford multiple times at the rim, and Melton was solid, and Wiggins was really good on Luka. It was the defense that allowed the Mavs to not score enough to where Curry could take it, and the Warriors ultimately could win it. But yeah, to Andis, to your point, Kerr loves this team and the way they're built and the balance and the options that it gives him to succeed. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's go ahead and take a quick timeout. We're just about an hour in here from Harmonic and Thrive City. Still time to stop by and say hi. 808 KNBR, the number. Right here, it's Dubs OT with JD on the Sports Leader.
Klay Thompson!
Dub Nation, this is the real and inside story on Warriors basketball. Dubs OT with John Dickinson continues. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
Draymond Green, Curry against Thompson. Over Lively. Got it! What a shot! On the dive and the deuce. Pretty play. Steph Curry.
I wonder, was that foul on Klay Thompson? Because that's going to be his third.
It is. It was.
Here's Kyrie with the little straight line drive, and then Curry comes right back.
Yeah, Curry comes right back, draws the foul, the and one, missed the free throw, but the Warriors with a nice little push into the second quarter. They had gotten down 11 and then cut it to 4 at halftime. So a +7 in the final couple of minutes. That was led by Curry there, that little stretch. And really, as you look at this one, Warriors win at 120-117. We're back here. Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the sports leader. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. As the Warriors get the win to improve to 9-2. Yes, cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers. You guys want to hop on? Just hop over here real quick. We got let me bring up this here. Just this.
My brother's actually watching. Right
yeah,
now.
all right.
Mike Delarenti, love you, brother.
Yep.
Go Dubs.
Yep,
Go Dubs.
there you go. Yep, come on in. Shout out. What's happening? Here we go. We love the shout outs. This is the only mic I got, so I got to just kind of turn it.
What's up?
Yeah, what's going on? What's your name, brother?
Arjun.
All right, appreciate you.
Nice to meet you.
Appreciate you. Nice to appreciate you watching and listening.
How you doing, Eric Bringus? Just want to say shout out to Lincoln High School basketball program. Let's go, baby.
Wow, Lincoln High School, okay. All right, very good. Appreciate that. And these guys are all having a I got one coming. I appreciate it. I got one coming. But no, I appreciate it. Yeah, just having a great time out here. Dubs OT with JD. Greg, apologies. I kind of, when the people want to come up, I want everybody to say hi. Like, this is not an act. When I say, hey,
we don't
stop by, say hi.
We don't apologize for this.
We're gonna throw you on. We're gonna throw you. Juan says, boo Lincoln. That's funny. Erwin Kwong, go Eagles, down with the Mustangs. We got people chiming in with their high school rivalries. Here, Galileo all the way. Everybody's shouting out their high school now. I love it. Uncle Looney, JD is the best postgame show. You bet your ass. You bet your ass it is, Uncle Looney. How about Looney tonight, by the way? How about Looney? Looney had the rebounds and just grit and determination. It was kind of a playoff Looney game in a lot of different ways tonight.
We've seen a lot of playoff Looney games in just 9 games.
He's been really good. Just the offensive rebounds, the hustle plays. I mean, there's a reason why Steve Kerr, I think, advocated for Kevon Looney in a big way. And I think he advocated for Gary Payton II in a big way this offseason. A couple of those guys that were making a little bit of money were kind of down in terms of last year versus the prior couple of years. Yeah, Slim Loon, definitely more active and agile. But from what I've heard, Steve Kerr really advocated for both of those guys to be back when the Warriors could have looked to move them in what would have been cost-cutting measures. And so they've both paid dividends. I got to wonder if something was going on with GP2 tonight. Was surprised he played as little as he did, especially with the Warriors needing defense. But I thought tonight was a struggle. Only 7 minutes for GP. But I thought tonight was a struggle in terms of Kerr trying to find enough balanced lineups at different points. And really, I was kind of making this point before we get into the YouTube chat, Greg. It really was, hey, the starters played really well at the beginning and end of both halves. But where the game almost got away from the Warriors was the first half of the second quarter and the first half of the fourth quarter. It was Luka with some subs and a little bit of Klay Thompson peppered in. And it was basically the non-Steph Curry minutes is another way to put it. It was Luka was on the court for the Mavs without Steph Curry on the court for the Warriors. And that 12 to 14-minute stretch was almost good enough for the Mavs, bad enough for the Warriors, to where it didn't matter that the Warriors were really good in the first 7 minutes of each half and the last few minutes of the second and fourth quarters as well, when they figured out the lineups that they wanted to finish with.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I hedged a little bit at the beginning of the show, saying I don't know if this is a playoff run team when this is your roster, just because of how they were with and without Steph Curry. And, he wasn't the only one. Draymond was tremendous, probably gets half of my game ball along with Steph. And I also thought Looney was great. And I think Kuminga provided an offensive push that they really needed in the non-Steph minutes. So it was a team effort to some extent, but without your two heads of the snake and Hall of Famers, there is no game by the time the fourth quarter comes around.
100%. And I think that is the way that this one ultimately played out. Let's get into the YouTube chat a little bit. 808 KNBR. We still have Sounds of Silver coming up here tonight, Greg, and it is still popping here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. So we want to keep the conversation moving.
Well, look, I'm so happy to be back here right now, and this was an incredible night all around. But now between the pulled pork quesadilla, the visitors coming into the show, I'm like, we got to make this dual Harmonic YouTube show happen soon.
Oh, no, we're definitely going to make it happen. We're definitely going to make it happen here coming up soon. We'll get the Comrex out here. We'll get the big cameras out here. We'll get the long table. I'm kind of a pub table guy. I like a high top. I like a high top table. And so, I'm minimalist when I do these shows here from Harmonic Brewing. We got a beautiful view in the background. We got a full house out here on the floor and a lot of people having a good time here tonight as the Warriors get the win. CB in the YouTube chat, Wiggins most improved this season. I don't know if he's entered that conversation yet, but he's significantly improved over what he's been the last couple of years.
I think it's in the context of Warriors most improved.
Oh, I mean, look, he's become bona fide. He's become playable again. You don't even. It's gotten to the point, Greg, where you don't even think about him being on the court now with Steph and Draymond in closing lineups, which at times he wouldn't be on the court last year in closing lineups because, well, he wasn't available at all. So you can't be or wasn't playing well enough to where Steve Kerr would have to think about not having him close or have him close. And how often would Steve Kerr kind of give him the courtesy close and Wiggins wouldn't play well? And everybody would be like, why didn't you play Moody? Or why didn't you play Kuminga? Or why didn't you play this? Yeah. So, that I think is something that Wiggins playing at the level that he's played has made it simplified Steve Kerr and what he's been able to do. It's kind of like a baseball platoon. You can platoon at a couple of spots in a lineup. You can't platoon at 6 spots. You can pick 1 or 2 guys in your closing lineup. You can pick one that changes, but you really need 3 to 4 that are going to be the guys no matter what. And I think Steph, Draymond, and Wiggins are the 3 guys that and then you base the others on what kind of night it is. Tonight, it was Melton and Kuminga. And, a lot of nights it is Kuminga. Every once in a while it's not. Some nights it's TJD and Buddy Hield. But I thought Kerr going two-way player in terms of offense, defense, Melton over Hield, I thought that was what sparked the comeback. In addition to Steph Curry just taking the game over. That's obvious. But I thought the subtle spark, and I tweeted this, Greg. You may have seen it. I tweeted it right when Jason Kidd called the timeout. I said I would put Kuminga back in the game. But it would mean Draymond has to play the 5, but I would put Kuminga back in the game to finish. I thought he should have been a finisher tonight. Kerr went to him with Melton. Melton was the part I wasn't so sure about, but it all worked 15-5 with Steph Curry. And it was Steph Curry with 12 and DeAnthony Melton with 3 and the Mavs with 5 over that final 4-17. All right, let's go a little rapid fire here as you listen to KNBR 104.5 and 680 San Francisco, the sports leader. Greg, it's Greg Silver's choice in terms of the comments. You put them on the screen. I'm going to read them.
This is like navigating a waterfall, but this is a beautiful problem to have. I'm just going to.
That's why I'm having you do it after I had a Kolsch.
Hey, you know what? It's understandable. We have
only one tonight.
Everyone's worst nightmare is not our worst nightmare because he thinks that the captain Klay caps, he thinks we look mighty fine in them.
Captain Klay. Yeah, I might need a little tissue. I might need to like put some like a paper towel or two in the front of mine to get it right.
Draymond's defense was great from Rebel to Sounds. Absolutely.
Rebel to Sounds. Wow.
Poor Captain JD, a nice cold one. Well, yeah, he's going to have at least a couple of those.
I got one coming. Shay's got it hooked up. We got Shay and Alex tonight. And we had Mike earlier and Jimmy.
Enrique says some of Kerr's lineups did not work. I know we talked about the ones that obviously did work down the stretch. I can understand how there were some buttons pushed in the middle of that game that were a little iffy. I wasn't a big fan of the Pajemski minutes. It was a rare not plus minus night for him where he kind of struggled, and I didn't think his defense was very good.
Pajemski was bad tonight. He looked a little tentative to me tonight, and this was the first game without the mask, correct? Did he have the mask off in OKC? I can't remember. It was noticeable to me tonight.
I think he had the mask in OKC, if I'm not mistaken.
So tonight was the first game without the mask for Pajemski. I don't know. He seemed a little tentative. He wasn't good defensively. I agree with you on that. As far as I don't think it was the lineups as much as it was who was available tonight and the matchups. But I thought the Warriors really missed Kyle Anderson, who came up as a late scratch. I think that threw everything into a little bit of, in Kyle Anderson, back spasms. That came down like 15, 20 minutes before tip-off, that Kyle Anderson, a late scratch due to back spasms. And I think that threw the rotation off a little bit as to what Steve Kerr was going to do tonight. And it did impact things, I thought, in that second and fourth quarter. And look, Kerr did stick with the same group in the fourth quarter to start it that he did in the first, except he put Draymond Green out there as a stabilizing defender. But yeah, the lineups that really didn't work tonight, Greg, Pajemski, Melton, Moody, Kuminga, and Looney, that was the five at the top of the second quarter. And then in the beginning of the fourth quarter was Pajemski, Melton, Moody, Kuminga, Draymond instead of Kevon Looney. That was the adjustment. But and it really came down to the Mavs won those games, or won those minutes to a point where it almost won them the game. But I really think they missed Kyle Anderson. His defense, his length. I mean, he's somebody that really becomes a switchable defender, and he's kind of been the backup point guard. Like Pajemski, since he got sick on that road trip and missed the game due to illness, Pajemski hasn't quite been the same, really, the last week plus. So something to monitor. And look, Steve Kerr, he still was the backup point guard tonight because Kyle Anderson wasn't around. But to think Pajemski played too much, he played 17 minutes tonight. So I don't think Pajemski necessarily played too much because he still had to be the backup point guard. I know some people are saying, play Moody more, play Lindy Waters, whatever. But the reason you were able to play without a point guard was because Kyle Anderson was the point guard. You didn't have that tonight, which meant this was a night where Pajemski might have only played 12, but had to play 17 because Kyle Anderson was out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I would agree that they missed Kyle Anderson. I know that he's been the 11th or sometimes 12th guy in the rotation for some of these games, but when you have three constant threats with the way Klay was playing and then obviously Luka and Kyrie, Dallas is the exact type of opponent where Kyle Anderson would have gotten minutes, and he would have gotten meaningful minutes if he was healthy.
Yeah, he would have got a lot of meaningful minutes. It did seem like the rotation was a little bit off tonight. And then I kind of went back through my notes, and it was like, oh yeah, Kyle Anderson late scratch. And again, I think late scratch is like during the pregame warmup, like before the team, as the team's going to take the floor to go out for the layup line, it's like, oh yeah, Kyle Anderson's out. So this was something that just popped up. Kyle kind of does the same things as Dre and Brown, especially on defense, facilitator. Yeah, and they found something playing him as a small ball five. on Sunday in Oklahoma City. I think that's a lineup that Kerr is really comfortable with. I've said this a couple of times. Nobody on the Timberwolves last year defended Jokic better than Kyle Anderson did. Kyle Anderson defended Jokic in their playoff series that the Timberwolves won. Everybody gave Karl Anthony Towns credit, and Karl Anthony Towns was better than Rudy Gobert, man up on Jokic. But Kyle Anderson was the guy, if you go back through the numbers and you watch the tape, Kyle Anderson defended Jokic. Which, I mean, think about that. If you could play a little bit of small ball center, and we always talk about the Warriors and their desire for a big. And so I think that's another kind of small ball big that gives the Warriors some options. 415 on the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. Steph loves Klay, but had to show little bro not tonight in his arena. No containing the MVP. That was definitely what it was in the final 4 minutes there. And in the 6-8, Greg, Curry, the most clutch closer in the league when he needs to be, and Dallas found that out tonight. Also the 979 on the Draymond conversation. Again, appreciate everybody on the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. Let's give Draymond his flowers. Steph is the life of the game of basketball. And, yeah, you got to give Draymond his flowers, I think, no question. And we have given Draymond his flowers here tonight. A couple of more in the YouTube chat, Greg, here before we take another timeout.
Yeah, quick little rapid fire here. Erwin just wants to make the observation that he would drink KNBR's beer tab out of receipt paper. I buy that.
Well, I think it's technically only the first one. I think it's all by around, but it's, there are some nights where we will do the special, JD picks up the tab. But no, but tonight is tonight is the, hey, I'll buy you your first one. That's what it's all about. What else we got? Great home win, but it did kind of show the Warriors should still be eyeing the trade market as Alex comes by. Alex is going to say hi. Alex is making sure that that there's a nice pour. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Yeah, we got Alex and Shay tonight. Wonderful. So yeah, cheers to everyone on YouTube and Twitch. Let me go. FL Dubs fan, great home win. It did kind of show Warriors should be still eyeing the trade market. It just can't be only Steph. They look lost out there on offense during non-Steph minutes. Tonight was the first night where that was without question prevalent. And I think that is going to become, as the Warriors continue to play well here, the most interesting question about their season. Do they continue to keep rolling with this team that they built as it is successful, or do they look to make the big move? And who would you be willing to give up to bring that big player in? Again, we're going to touch on that every single night. We're going to touch on that in some fashion. It really is the overarching theme. We had our Giants overarching theme of Farhan. Would he do enough to stay or go? The Warriors overarching theme this year is going to be, do they look to do something major between now and the trade deadline? And who do they ultimately give up? And who ultimately is available to get in return that can take them to the next level without giving up so much of the depth that they just aren't the same team? So I think that's a big part of it. Let's keep it going. Couple more here. Let's do 4 more rapid fire. I promise.
All right. Well, first one, our buddy Eve here just says we're the most improved Warriors roundup. I agree, and this is why you
we were pretty good last year.
No. This is why you set the bar as low as possible. JD was great, but I didn't have the octopus thing going on, as Rockin' New Era likes to point out. He's like kind of like a little bit of octopus in the studio.
Yeah, I'm a minimalist when it comes to like my setup. I've got my headset, I've got my laptop, I've got the phones going that allow for the connection back to the studio via a wonderful app that makes it sound like I'm right next to Greg. I'm a minimalist. Greg is the opposite of that. Like, he needs like 8 screens and a board and 4 keyboards and a microphone and a headset and 2 or 3 phones and an iPad. Like, Greg needs all of that. Dubs OT, almost Robert. Appreciate that. Dubs OT, almost at 1 year anniversary. You are correct. November 30th. November 30th is the 1 year anniversary of our first show here on KNBR and Dubs OT, the debut in what was a win over the Clippers. And Greg, the Warriors are playing on November 30th this year. They are playing on November 30th. They are playing in Phoenix on November 30th.
That'll be a fun show.
Out? That's going to be a show where, as it stands right now, I'm going to be in Phoenix. We're taking the JD Dubs OT show on the road. And so, yeah, we're going to have a celebratory from Phoenix. We're taking the show on the road multiple times. I think I'm set to announce this unofficially. Unofficially, we're going to be in L.A. for Dubs OT next Monday, Warriors and Clippers. We're going to be in Phoenix for Dubs OT on November 30th for the Warriors and the Suns on the Saturday night. And we are also going to be in Denver on Tuesday, December 3rd, so 3 weeks from tonight, and what could wind up being another one of these showdown games. Dubs OT from Denver, Warriors and Nuggets on what will be December 3rd. Those I can unofficially confirm, Greg, or as we take the Dubs OT show on the road here this season. Already been to Portland and Utah. We were a Steph Curry ankle tweak, Greg, and I don't even think you know this. We were a Steph Curry ankle tweak away from Houston, Washington, Boston, and Cleveland all happening. And then we kind of slow played it. I didn't want you to panic too soon, Greg, because Greg, like when I take the show too far away, Greg's like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" So we cooler heads prevailed, and we didn't want to bite off more than we could chew early in the season. But yeah, Dubs OT is going to be hitting the road here again coming up next week and at the end of November and beginning of December. But the 1 year anniversary of Dubs OT here, November 30th coming up, and that will be, and we do need one of these home games, probably not because that's Thanksgiving weekend, so probably not the night before Thanksgiving. Although that is a good night to gather and have a couple of brews. That's the night where everybody goes back to their old like high school stomping grounds and just, whatever town you're from, if you're your family's still there, you can go back to the old stomping grounds and pour a few with the old friends from like high school or college. And then get up with the family the next day, that night before. So we're going to be at Harmonic the night before Thanksgiving, but we're also going to be we're going to have to plan a Dubs OT 1 year anniversary show here at Harmonic where Greg comes out and we all come out. We set up the big table and all of that. So all right, two more real quick. If everything holds true, these two teams will see each other in the playoffs. So good to know Slow-Mo is a lead defender on Luka. Yeah, Slow-Mo could guard Luka for sure. And Slow-Mo could even switch onto the big and prevent the lob also. So I think that works out really well. One more. Gisak. Appreciate that one.
I'm doing some looking. We got incredible paperwork to sort through here.
Well, the beauty of the chat, and we love the chat, but the beauty of the chat is that everybody starts having conversations. Robert, JD going to have enough Kolsch's to the point where he thinks he's in Germany. No. You can tell I'm not in Germany. You can see I'm not in Germany. You can see right where I am. Thrive City, Harmonic Brewing, with the Captain Klay hat on, and what a win for the Dubs. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll pause here. We'll come back. We've got Sounds of Silver on the other side. We got to hear from Klay Thompson in our Sounds of Silver segment. We got to hear from Steve Kerr in our Sounds of Silver segment. And I got a sneaking suspicion we're going to hear from Steph Curry and Draymond Green as well as the Warriors get the win. What a thriller. 808 KNBR if you want to jump in and join the conversation from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City here on the Sports Leader.
Hello, Klay Thompson.
Did you hear something?
Yeah, like a swoosh.
Yeah.
Dubs OT presents the sounds of silver. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
All right, welcome back. Final segment here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Dubs OT with JD. What a game tonight at Chase. Warriors win at 120-117. And they are 9-2. They win the Klay Thompson return game. Klay Thompson was really good. Everybody, I mean, it's really the best of all worlds if you're a Warriors fan. Klay Thompson played very well, but Stephen Curry and Draymond Green got the last laugh and got the win, which improves the Dubs to 9-2 on the season. 808 KNBR, if you want to jump in here between now and about 10 to midnight, we're going to call it a night here. We have Sounds of Silver coming up. And, Greg, before we bring you back in, 650 on the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. Salute to Klay in his return, but King Curry is still the best to ever do it in league history. Warrior fans are feeling really freaking good tonight off of this win. And, I mean, it was the game. I think it was the best game in the last 3 seasons at Chase. This season and the last 2 seasons, including in that. So two seasons plus now 4 home games. I think this was the most electric atmosphere since they won the NBA championship back in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, just even hearing the callers say it was an Oracle-like crowd, I think tells you a lot. And look, Chase Center is great too. I've been fortunate to go by there a few times, and I've heard that get mighty loud as well. But Oracle was just notorious for some of the loudest atmospheres in all of sports, and that includes bigger crowds when you're just in that enclosed arena and the Warriors were at the height of their powers. So, yeah, I mean, this game had everything. Like, as a lover of the game, it was impossible not to be into the game. I just enjoyed every second of watching this one, truthfully, and it had the high-level competition that we were promised. I mean, you really can't ask for much more of that from our vantage point. And then from the vantage point of our Dubs devotees, it all ended with a happy ending and Steph Curry doing his thing. So,
yeah, I mean, it was just spectacular. I mean, it was just, there are some games that just make you feel why you love sports. And tonight was just one. I mean, it was one of those games tonight. And Chase rose to the occasion. You know, Dub Nation's always going to be there, but tonight it was just awesome. What do we got tonight? A meaty Sounds of Silver, I would imagine.
It's a meaty one, and like you predicted as well, we're just going to hear from all the OGs because there were a lot of cuts and a lot of good quotes that we're not going to even get to, but I encourage you to check out the work on the KNBR socials because our guys, Michael Connell, Austin Scott, Jack Loader, and even a little John Dickinson on the digital side just do a fantastic job, and they're killing it tonight. So we'll play a handful because we are limited on time, and the first one we'll start with the man of the hour, Steph Curry, asked about Klay's return and just talked about what kind of atmosphere it was.
This is what the NBA is about, like competition. No matter what the sound bites were before the game, leading up to it, we knew there would be a lot of emotions, but both teams wanted to win. It felt like playoff type atmosphere, back and forth, great players making great plays on both sides. So that's why we love the competition. We love being out here.
Yeah, I mean, that is the word of the night. I mean, it's elite competition by 3 guys who I think are just maniacal competitors, like off the charts, like Michael Jordan level of competitiveness. And I think Steph, Draymond, and Klay, all 3 have that level. Maybe Michael's in a category all his own, but whatever that next tier is, all 3 of those guys have it, which I think is a big part of the reason why they hung 4 banners together in their time. But it was on full display, and it was, as we've mentioned a couple of different times, kind of fun to see Klay competing with Luka and Kyrie. Couple of guys who are competitive in their own right, but I'm not sure if they have that elite of the elite level of competitiveness that Steph and Draymond and Klay have. But it just made for just a memorable night here at Chase.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better than Steph did in that post-game statement. Let's move along to Draymond Green. who has a similar sentiment and just said, once the game starts, it's all about winning the game. I think he's certainly adopted that mentality based on his play. And here's what he said.
I've seen them battle a lot in practice, so it wasn't that odd. Once you get in the game, it's just about the game. We weren't out there like, oh, man, Klay's in a different jersey. It is what it is. We had great years here. He's over there trying to do something special. We're here trying to do something special. So once you get it between those lines, all that extra stuff go out the window.
Yeah, it's again that well said by Draymond Green, and I thought that was the part of the night that you really didn't totally know, right? You knew that Klay was going to get a wonderful ovation. I felt pretty early on in the afternoon when I saw Klay walk in and the 400 Warriors employees were in their captain's hats and basically gave him their own personal standing ovation as he walked from the team bus into the Mavericks locker room. And Klay smiled and absorbed it and appreciated it. When I saw that from Klay at about 4:30 this afternoon, Greg, I knew that Klay was going to appreciate the love from the Warrior fan base and from Chase Center. And so I thought, again, the proper energy was going to be put on it. What you didn't know about tonight was, would the game actually live up to the hype? And the game more than lived up to the hype. I thought it was funny. I mean, Draymond playing it off like, oh, well, we've seen it in practice. Well, none of us have seen it in practice. And so Draymond can talk about it and Steve Kerr can talk about it. But we got to see it on full display. And again, I think one of the coolest moments of the entire night was just how much Steph Curry and Klay Thompson specifically were matched up on each other. And how, right from the opening tip, Klay got the better of Steph, drew a foul on him, hit a couple of free throws. You had Steph making multiple defensive plays against Klay. You had Steph stripping Klay and then taking a wild pull-up three that he airballed. And you've got Klay smiling. You've got Klay trying to do a shimmy. You've got Klay exuding a ton of emotion as it looked like he was going to be able to put the Mavs over the top, only to have Steph Curry get the last laugh. What a night. And everything that happened between the lines lived up to the hype.
It really did have a bit of everything. We are going to hear from all the OGs. So that, of course, includes Looney. You know how I feel about Looney. You know how Dub Nation feels about Looney. And Looney had a pretty impressive competitive fire in himself tonight. So this is a really short one. He was just asked what he would say to Klay.
If you could see Klay after this game, what would you tell him?
We won up on him. That's all I got to say to him. But he's my brother for life.
Wait, what? I didn't. What did he say?
He said we're one up on him. That's all I got to say. We're one up on him. Okay. He's my brother for life.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, that's the fun of it. Like, nobody competes harder than you compete against people you love and respect. Whether it's and that is, despite maybe some bad blood at the way that things ended, it really truly is about the love of Steph and Klay and Draymond. And yeah, it got a little weird, which led everybody to this point where they were on opposite ends tonight. But nobody competes harder than you compete against people that you love and respect. And Steph and Draymond and Klay, they love and respect each other to the highest level. And Kevon Looney, somebody who's helped win multiple championships, that I think he feels that. Andrew Wiggins feels that with his time with the Warriors and helping them win this last championship. And those who don't specifically feel it, they're grandfathered in based on the fact that the other OGs, to use that term, feel it and basically hand it down the line.
Well, I was actually going to wait to play this cut till the last three. I wanted to end with the big three and throw Steve Kerr in the middle, but I'm actually going to do a little pivot and go right to Draymond Green, because how could I not take the conversation there when you kind of just echoed a lot of what he says here in this cut about when you're close with someone, that just takes the competitiveness to a new level.
Hit a shot on him, you're going to say something to him. He hit a shot on us. He said something else. He did a little terrible shimmy he did. It's awful. But that's the competitive nature. You know, you don't win 4 championships together without that competitive fire. And so he has that, and we've known that forever. We have that, and he's known that forever. And so that's always going to happen. You know, when you play against your brother, people always talk about, oh, man, why are those guys close? When you play against somebody you close with, you want to beat them even more. You know, you want to play well against them even more. And it just raises that level of competition. So seeing him over there, you know, you want to play great. You want to do great things. And that was kind of the mindset.
Yeah, I mean, that, again, I couldn't have said it any better than Draymond, but always better to have Draymond be the guy who says it. I mean, it's just the story of the night. On repeat, Greg, it's the story of the night.
So you heard Draymond Green criticize Klay Thompson's shimmy, which generated a good laugh from the postgame press crowd. Steph Curry was also asked about Klay hitting the shimmy, and it's a short one, but here's what he had to say.
We know how much respect you have for Klay, but when he did the shimmy, you're waiting to check in, we're shaking your head. What were you thinking when you saw him pull that off?
He knows better than that.
Short and sweet. He knows better than that via Ali LaForce and TNT. Well, Steph showed him that he knew better than that. I think that's without a doubt, Greg.
He knows better than that.
That might have to end up being in our that might have to be in the close, in the show close.
We actually got a special edition close tonight, an extra long one.
Okay, an extra long one. How long are we talking here?
As long as the people want to listen in their cars, you know. I don't want to reveal my secrets.
Okay. No, I know you said it might be extra special. I don't know about long, but you said extra special the other night, and I thought, okay, like that's good. Greg's in the lab cooking some stuff up. What else do we got tonight?
Let's hear from Steve Kerr, and then we'll close Sounds of Silver out with Klay Thompson. This is Steve Kerr talking about Steph and Draymond anchoring the team, especially down the stretch, and how that helped get them over the top.
Well, it was, you know, kind of similar to the second quarter, you know, where they jumped us. You know, we won the first and the third quarters pretty well. Played really well. Ball was moving. Our defense was good. Second and fourth, we really struggled in both. And, you know, they got off to that great start, took the lead, and just an incredible finish anchored by Steph and Draymond. Steph on the offensive side, Draymond on the defensive side. It's amazing to watch those guys still after all these years. And couldn't be prouder of the team for, you know, a tough win against a great team.
Yeah, tough win, great team, and I think I don't think we've under-discussed that tonight, Greg. I really don't. But, and look, with all due respect to the Mavs, I mean, the Warriors have been playing better basketball these first couple of weeks here, so I don't want that to diminish from what the Warriors accomplished. The Mavs went to the NBA Finals last year, and Luka Doncic is obviously a superstar in his prime or coming up on his prime. Kyrie Irving, I think, is still in his prime. And kind of reinvigorated during his time in Dallas. But, you know, this may not be the statement win of road game at Boston or road game at Oklahoma City, but don't get it twisted. This was an incredibly impressive home win, in part because of the way the Warriors did it. They were down 7 with 4 minutes to go, and they outscored the Mavs 15-5 and really put the clamp down defensively in those final 4 minutes. I mean, Andrew Wiggins' defense on Luka in the final 4 minutes was spectacular. Draymond Green's defense on Gafford in the final minutes on 2 plays specifically it was just phenomenal. And that allowed, you know, the Warriors to be able to go down and Steph to do what he did after Melton hit the initial 3 when he got subbed into the game. So again, I don't know that it goes in the Boston OKC on the road category, but this team has now beaten the defending Eastern and Western Conference champions and the team that was the 1 seed last year in the Western Conference and playing as well as anybody in the NBA to begin this season. These are their last 3 wins in less than a week. I mean, this is a Tuesday night. I mean, this is 3 wins against 3 top-tier teams in 7 nights. And it's a big part of the reason why the Warriors are 9-2.
I almost think that it means a little extra when you do it on your home floor, when the game already has so much meaning before the ball is even tipped off. And the way it all played out, the fashion in which they did it, Klay Thompson showing up for the moment, hitting big threes in the fourth quarter, and then Steph Curry to respond and go and be the closer. I don't know if the Mavericks to this point are the caliber opponent that OKC or Boston is, like you're saying, JD, but just when you consider the weight of the situation, I don't know how it doesn't get much bigger than this in a November game.
Well, and I'm gonna give you another thing. I'm gonna give you another thought on that. Just the last week here, where you look at what the Warriors have done, it shows early in a season where we're trying to learn as much as we can about the new look Warriors and where they fit in the landscape of the NBA. We now have 3 pieces of evidence as to this team's ability to rise to the occasion in games that are circled. And you know what happens? Teams that are able to do that in the regular season, that are able to rise to the occasion and win in Boston, win in OKC, win a game like tonight in the fashion that the Warriors did. You know what that's a tell of? That's a tell of the future ability to rise to the occasion and win playoff games or potentially win a playoff series. So it's, again, the playoffs are different. Can you do it at the same level when you don't have a clear-cut number 2? We'll figure that part out. But this group has shown an ability to rise to the occasion here in the last week to a level that I don't know many would have believed they have it in the bag. It's one thing to do it 3 times in a week against different opponents in the regular season. It's another thing to do it 4 times in 2 weeks in a playoff series. But I think we're seeing some early tells, Greg, as to just, maybe the early makings of something special. I don't think it's 2021, 22 yet. That team was off to a hot start, and then all of a sudden it was, oh my God, they're 7-1, and then all of it was like, oh my God, they're 18-2. And are we headed to that? Probably not quite. They'd have to win the next 9 in a row, which would be an 11-game winning streak all told, if to get to that point. But I think what we're seeing is a team that's highly competitive and able to, again, Steph and Draymond have risen to the occasion in these games against these other top flight opponents.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And I don't honestly like the comparisons of 2022 to this team, because I think that part of it is objective with how much the roster has changed, right? But then I also think on a Klay night, I got to say this, when Klay Thompson left, that was a closing chapter in one of the greatest runs a team's ever had in sports. And that doesn't mean that the team can't have similar attributes, or they can't be kind of that scrappy underdog whose defense kind of leads the way, and they still got Steph and Draymond and, guys to fill great roles. But I don't know. It's like this is still a new and meaningful chapter, and we still have yet to see how it plays out. I kind of see this as its own thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it. And again, I'm a little reluctant to go too far down that road also, because that team did have a couple of guys really who were clear-cut number 2 scorers. It was Jordan Poole and it was Andrew Wiggins, and then it was Klay Thompson, who came back off of the injury in January. So I think in some ways that team was ahead of this team in terms of having a little bit more of 3 guys where you kind of knew throughout the year that they could be the guy, and you knew it pretty quickly, and they had done it in their NBA careers at that particular level. Maybe Jordan Poole hadn't, but Wiggins, in his time with Minnesota had, and obviously you look at Klay coming back, he had been the clear-cut number 2 when he came back in January off the injury. So I think it's really interesting, but as you look at this team, this team doesn't have as much of that on lock in terms of who that clear-cut number 2 is going to be. And so that's where the similarities, I think stop. But the one thing that is similar is this team is well connected and well put together, and they play for each other. And Vibes are great. And that's the part where, some early season success against some lesser opponents has led to some greater success against some better opponents, which I believe that's a thing, as we've talked about. And this whole thing, the way it was set up with the schedule and the slow build and the depth, it's all been just absolutely tremendous. All right, final 5 minutes or so here. Let's go ahead and get to fun with numbers.
Well, we actually have our last cut. We never heard Klay Thompson.
I jumped the gun. Sorry, Klay. We got one more cut. Sorry, Klay. I'm wearing the captain hat. Apologies, Klay.
And this is Klay talking about playing against Steph, both the good and the bad.
Well, it was fun to match up with Steph. I mean, we guarded each other plenty of times in practice with Team USA camps and All-Star games. So a real competitive NBA game. It was pretty surreal, but after a few minutes, it was just basketball. And then, it hurts to be on the other side of one of his flurries. Guy got hot at the end and made some ridiculous shots. I know I've been on the other end and it sucks. But like I said before, I think we play them 3 more times. So hopefully we can learn from it and learn their tendencies a little better. But it sucks because this was a big game for the Cup. So something we just got to digest and move forward.
Klay's the best. I mean, he really is. Like, the one thing I'll say about Klay above everything, I mean, he is a real one. Like, Klay is a real one. Like, he just feels how he's going to feel. And sometimes it's emotional in terms of, like, sad or hurt or anger or whatever, or just happy, or he's just locked in on one. I mean, the Cup, he brought up the Cup, which he's brought up the Cup before, that he didn't get a chance to be a part of it last year. He didn't get to go to Vegas and play in the like, he legit mentioned that a couple of days ago. And I'm thinking, man, what are you talking about, Klay? But he, again, Klay's a real one. We'll love him or hate him. He's a real one. And that, but yeah, he that one stung him. That one stung him, I think, right? He wanted that one, and I think he thought they had it. It's twofold. He wanted it bad, and I think he thought when he hit the 3 and the Warriors called timeout, and then the Mavs got another bucket and a stop and called another timeout, and they're up 7 with 4:17 to go. I think Klay thought they had it, and then Steph said, nope, you didn't have it, because this is still my house over at Chase Center.
To be fair, one, shout out to Klay for caring about the Cup, because I think that's so genuine and it's hilarious, and I love him for it. 2, when Steph rips your heart out for quite literally the first time on a high-stakes competitive situation, I would be pretty deflated at the podium too.
Again, he wanted this one. It goes to the whole something to prove component to this. Let's get to fun with numbers, Greg, and then we'll call it a night.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
No, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
All right, Warriors get the job done, 120-117. It's their second straight win overall, third consecutive at home. They're 9-2 on the season. And yes, as Klay Thompson mentioned, Greg, they are 1-0 in the Emirates NBA Cup group play. They have another group play game. There are 4 group play games, and the next group play game for the Warriors is their next game, which after a couple of days off, they will play Friday against Oklahoma City at Chase Center. And then the Warriors also have a couple of road games coming up in the Emirates Cup as they will take on the New Orleans Pelicans coming up on November the 22nd, and then the Denver Nuggets. So you think, hey, you beat the Mavs, you're in great shape as far as your group play win. Well, the Pelicans, who are having an awful start to the season with a bunch of injuries, not quite. And then you still got to go to Denver in what will be the 4th and final. That's the December 3rd game, which will have Dubs OT on location scheduled to occur. So some other notes from this one. Warriors have won 2 of the last 3 against Dallas, which with each of the last 3 being decided by 4 points or less. So these teams have played some excellent games. Warriors are 7-0 when scoring at least 120. They had exactly 120 tonight. They're 6-0 when they out-rebound their opponent, 50-40 tonight. They're 9-0 when leading after 3 quarters. They were up 96-79 going to the 4th, but then fell behind by 7, so a 14-point swing before the Warriors go 15-5 to finish it. They're 4-0 against the Southwest Division, a couple against the Pelicans, 1 against Houston, and tonight. And they're 2-0 when Stephen Curry scores 30. He had a second straight game scoring at least 35, and Steph Curry's 3 best games of the year have been the Warriors' 3 biggest wins of the year. Boston, OKC on the road, and then tonight, season-high 37 for Steph, 12 straight to finish the game. Only the second time per Elias in his career that he scored that many points to end a game. He scored 14 in a row at San Antonio, February 8th, 2021 during COVID. And our other player note of the night, Kevon Looney, 11 rebounds, 9 offensive rebounds. 9 offensive rebounds. Only the 3rd player, Greg, since offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds were first tracked. You got to go back 51 years with 9 or more offensive rebounds in under 15 minutes. You want to guess at who else has done it?
Nate Thurmond.
Andre Drummond and Will Perdue. What do you know about Will Perdue? You know anything about Will Perdue? I think he's a broadcaster for the Spurs. At least he used to be.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Andre Drummond. No. It's just it's the guys at the table here screaming they don't want Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond. So Kevon Looney had 9 offensive rebounds in under 15 minutes. Andre Drummond was the last player to have that many. He had 11 in under 15 minutes. So no, I'm not. That's going to do it. Thanks to everybody out here at Harmonic. We had Alex and Shay. Thanks to Austin Scott and Michael Connell. Excellent job in the KNBR digital department. Jack Loader as well out here on hand in person behind us at Chase Center. For Greg Silver and Overnight Dave and Kyle Haar and anybody else I'm forgetting, Greg, please chime in now.
Jordan Pratari,
appreciate her help tonight as the Warriors get a thrilling win over the Dallas Mavericks. We will talk to you Friday after the Warriors and the Grizzlies. What a night in the building behind me here. What a night at Harmonic Brewing. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
The Golden State Warriors select Klay Thompson from Washington State University.
Smith will bring it up, throw up a 3, rebound Curry, and the dream season is now complete. The Golden State Warriors are the 2015 NBA champions.
Klay Thompson, one of the great individual performances you'll ever see. 37 in a quarter, 60 in 29 minutes, 14 threes in a game. Has never been done until tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Game 6 Klay. Curry 3.
A little bit of a point to Klay Thompson here.
Thompson back in, triple good. Thompson a 3, another one. Klay knocks in 2 from deep in a row. Curry against Thompson. Over Lively, got it. What a shot. On the dive in the deuce. Thompson 3, kaboom.
He knows that corner. He's familiar with this building.
Grimes will gallop.
Got to find Thompson.
Klay 3, card. Big time triple. 6 threes. And a timeout taken by the Mavericks to make it a 1-point game. 30 for Curry. Doncic will defend Curry. A screen by Green, the switch to Lively. 3, Curry. Oh! Golden State won it with an outstanding 4th quarter from Stephen Curry, who scores the last 12 Warrior points.